Hello, everyone, and welcome to On the Move, a show where we share transportation, marketing, and sales success stories. I am Jennifer Carpus Remain, Executive Director of TMSA, a trade nonprofit educating and connecting marketing and sales professionals in transportation and logistics. And today on the show, I have Anthony Pagnotto, who is VP of Global Sales and Marketing at Mohawk Global. Welcome back to the show, Anthony. How are you doing today?
It's exciting. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. The little intro music that we get to listen to,
Mhm.
like, gets me pumped, gets me hyped. A little visual, a little graphic. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, especially as the four-time Women in Supply Chain Wonder Woman Award. Like, my goodness. And so before we even start, I'm going to say thank you for everything that you do for TMSA, for our members, for our community, and helping us making us a better place and a better place to learn and develop and meet people. So thank you. I'm really excited to be here specifically because of you.
Well, thank you. That was so kind and nice and unexpected. I do what I can, so I appreciate that.
Oh,
I
of course.
also like the intro music, and I love that they can't see us because I dance with it.
I was wondering, like, what can I do there? I was definitely feeling a little bit of I was like, can I sneak a sip of water too right now to
Mhm.
get ready? I didn't, but it's pretty cool.
It's okay. I know that they say it's like bad practice to drink and stuff when you're on the camera, but I do anyways because otherwise you'll get hoarse and you'll cough and do all the
I
things.
think you have to, right?
You have
Especially
to.
since we don't have like a blurred background or
Mhm.
things go invisible
Yep.
and such. Um, I will say I've been doing a lot of podcasts lately, which I really like to do, and I appreciate the opportunity to do. And I don't know how you feel about it. You've done a lot now,
Mhm.
a lot. They're always a pretty like nerve-wracking experience to prepare for, and like because you want to do well. And
Mhm.
when you get in, especially when I'm talking to somebody like you and we're chatting, it's always so much more relaxed than it feels like it's
Yes.
going to be. Do you have that feeling too?
Yes, I do think that's true. And I also, as being on the other side, the interviewer, that's
Yeah.
part of my job is to make people feel comfortable. And one of the things I love about On the Move is because we do feature a lot of our members. And so there's been so many, especially on the marketing side, of people that at the end they'll be like, "Oh, this was my first podcast ever and you made it so comfortable." And I love that because a lot of times, especially on the marketing side, our job is to like push our presidents out and to push our leaders out. We push them out, they do the interviews and we sit in the corner and make sure that they do it, you know? And so having that ability to be able to interview all different types of people, all different types of roles, all different types of perspectives and making people feel comfortable through that process is one of the reasons why I love the podcast. And you really do then get those different perspectives. And yes, I feel that whether I'm on a podcast in an interview or I'm speaking, it does not matter how many times I've done it. I will always be nervous in that minute
There
before.
is, right? Like it's true.
And then people be like, "How do you feel about it?" I'm like, "I don't know. I black out." Like I know cognitively when I'm in it and when I'm doing it, I do it well. But it's part, especially if I'm on stage, like like people like at Elevate will be like, "Oh my God, your opening is always so like passionate and powerful. How do you feel?" But I'm like, I don't know. I got
I
nothing. I black out
I
because I
completely get the
practice, practice,
blackout.
practice, so I can just execute when I'm there. Because if I think too much about it, I get nervous.
I completely the blackout thing is such a great. I love the way you characterize that, and I've been in sales a long time, and I would say even in some of my best customer meetings, right? Like when you're the most prepared and the most excited, there's something autonomous within you that kind of takes over, right?
Mhm.
Which is testament to the key of preparation and the depth of knowledge that you bring into the conversation. So it's funny.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you feel comfortable, ready, and prepared to have our chat because we have all kinds of exciting things to talk about.
Yeah.
So, to kick things off, I mean, how would you characterize the current state of global trade from your vantage point at Mohawk? where do you think the biggest headwinds are? Where do you see opportunity? What's going on?
From our vantage point, global trade is continuing to undergo strategic recalibration. The biggest headwinds are obviously today geopolitical instability, regulatory fragmentation, modal imbalances across ocean, air, ground transportation, uncertainty on carrier futures, right? And whether or not they've got the strength and financial backing to survive a downturn and things like that. But it's not just today. And part of the conversation that I'm having today with you and that I really want to bring forward in further conversations is that we've been going through this for a long time. Global trade has shifted since global trade has existed. There have been winners and losers. There have been mechanisms that have created opportunities for other countries to rise and some to fall as a manufacturing base, locations. We're seeing certainly an acceleration with President Trump and his current administration's policies. There's certainly an acceleration of change. But for most of the good old folks that are involved in, transportation, sales, and marketing, we've gone through this before, and we'll go through it again. And so the change and the headwinds are something that is real. But through the course of my career, and I think many in our audience have hopefully learned that when there are headwinds, right, there are opportunities. The hardest time for me to position Mohawk Global and Mohawk Global's value is when everybody's just happy with everything that they've got going on, right? It's really hard. We sell by solving problems, and there have been stagnant times when there haven't been many problems in trade. Not lately, right? But there have been times, and those are harder to sell. But right now, if you look at the opportunities, I think we're seeing a bigger focus on regionalized supply chains, North America, cross-border trade, U.S. and Mexico, right? A lot of emerging markets stepping into the roles previously held by the traditional manufacturing powerhouses that you know of, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But off the cuff, I think about, North Africa. I think about Central America. I think about, India was one that we've talked about for a long time. It's going through a little hiccup of its own right now. But we're seeing emerging markets, and we're seeing our clients face regulatory challenges that they've never faced before, which has made us more valuable than ever, right? So the combination, it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, the headwinds cause me to lose sleep at night. And honestly, and I'll say this, and I want to say it right now, like publicly on the record, I say it for everyone. If you are a customs brokerage professional in the United States right now, if you know a customs brokerage professional in the United States right now, give yourself or give each other or go give them a hug. Everybody in this business has their day, whether it's air freight, truckload procurement, right? Right now, the customs brokerage folks are having, and trade policy folks are having an amazingly challenging time across the country, keeping up just with the volume of work that they have. And that's because of the expertise that they bring to the table, which is what our clients need at the moment and what continues to create opportunities. So give a customs broker a hug. I'm going to make that bumper sticker. So
sounds like a great sticker, bumper sticker. Put it on your computer, put it on your water bottle.
I need to.
Share the love.
Yeah, yes. For sure.
And how are you seeing recent changes, the tariffs, the regulations, the supply chain disruptions? How are they really forcing companies to rethink their global sales and trade strategies? And kind of what is Mohawk doing then?
We're back on the yo-yo, right? This is something that we go through in this industry. procurement and logistics functions in our clients and in importers specifically, but also most major businesses, manufacturers and such in the United States are seeing now transportation, supply chain, procurement, logistics, the whole shebang come back out of the back office and become a strategic priority. Obviously, rethinking sourcing, compliance, and distribution strategies. We're seeing the people that we work with and our partners reassess how they manage and what they expect from their transportation, customs brokerage providers, and a big push to continue to build resilience into their transportation and sourcing networks. The challenge is, and I've talked about this before, and I'll continue to talk about it, is that this happens all the time. And I think it's who we are, and I say we, I mean the human condition, I guess, right? Like it's who we are as a world, as a society, that we focus attention on where the pain is at the moment, and then it changes. But I think I said on the last podcast that during COVID supply chain bullwhip challenges, right, I saw more front office, CFO, CEO involvement in supporting and working with the logistics side of their businesses than I had ever seen in my life, right? And it was much more than a cost conversation at that point. It was a customer service and how do I get my goods to market conversation and what are the strategies? And I told everyone that as soon as the ocean rates fall back down and the truck rates fall back down, that will disappear. And it did. And I saw some great initiatives put together by some great logisticians and some just great supply chain teams at our clients and the clients that we're not dealing with. Saw some great initiatives to build stability and predictability into their model that would be helping them today. I saw those initiatives get rolled back, canceled, and all in the cost of chasing savings, mm-hmm. only for now the opportunity to reemerge, to reassess, and again, depending on how long this lasts, depending mm-hmm. on this disruption and this, we don't know what's going to happen. There's a court case coming up in November where the Supreme Court's going to hear arguments and rule on the constitutionality of IEPA. I'm going to give you my thought, and it's just based on what we've seen the Supreme Court do. I don't believe there's any way on this planet that they will find these tariffs unconstitutional. I'm not going to make a legal argument. I'm just, there seems to be a direction that the government is marching right now in sort of unison. But if they were to be found unconstitutional, right, and we would have some immediate relief, or if in the midterms there's a party change or what have you, and I can't even begin to pretend to understand or know what's going to happen, or these headwinds calm down, and then all these great initiatives that we're seeing our customers work through and build on disappear again. And that, I think that's the challenge for our clients and for Mohawk is supporting the building of long-term strategies that will get our clients through the next decade, because the next disruption is coming. It's right. Inevitable, right? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So in your role, you oversee, global sales and marketing, obviously talk a lot about trade and all of that. So I'm curious because I feel like a lot of times when we think about marketing, it's kind of like the softer version of revenue. People just talk about the importance of sales in it. But how do you see that marketing function kind of evolving in response to the new trade realities and being able to help execute the bottom line for companies?
Marketing, and I hope my marketing team hears this because they do such a fantastic job of this, and they're so proud of what they do. They are a strategic enabler. They're on the front lines, right? They are the key to helping us find and deliver market intelligence that our clients need, to help drive client education, right? And to demonstrate to our clients before they ever talk to us why Mohawk Global is the right provider for them. And there is so much movement right now. And if you start thinking about what's going on in the truckload market and the LTL market, and you start thinking about what's going on from a trade policy point of view, and what's going on with ocean rates out of India to the Southeast United States, there are so many pieces of information out there that it's impossible. The best sales rep in the world, right? It isn't going to be able to understand, work with, and bring solutions to the clientele for all of those at any given time. And marketing has that ability, that breadth and scope to take those topics, create content, demonstrate where we add value in a potential prospect's world, and then helps us harness the potential leads and such that comes from that. But there is no better disseminator of news and information that matters than the marketing teams right now. And goodness, they're busy. They're busy at the moment, right? I think they also work hard to help our clients understand the value of integrated services, right? Making sure that we're combining customs brokerage, ground transportation, ocean freight, right? And then again, we always have to say it, but then prove it. There's never been a better opportunity to generate case studies and white papers of what your company has done to help clients get through the struggles. Again, every headwind, every problem is an opportunity. It's cliche, I know, but it really is in this business, to solve a problem and then do it again and scale it for more clients. But you have to be able to demonstrate the success and what you've done in the past to bring more potential clients into the organization. So our marketing team is amazing.
I agree. I think that things are moving really fast, and showing that you are staying up to date with what's going on, that you're paying attention to all of the pieces, and then yes, how can you actually help your customers is really important. And I do think that that's where marketing comes into play. They're able, like you said, there's case studies. This is what we're doing. These are our communication strategies for how we are delivering information to our customers, our prospects. And even if it's your marketing team or your internal comms team, this is how we're explaining to our team what's going on and what they need to know and what they should be sharing and what is our differentiator. Well, if you're paying attention and you're able to really explain what's going on to your customer in a way that makes sense for them and their business, it's so important.
Absolutely.
For sure. So we are really excited to have you be one of our speakers at the upcoming TMSA Executive Summit Conference, which will be October 22nd through the 23rd in Chicago. And you are presenting Thriving in a New Era of Global Trade. Anyone that is listening to the show, we are giving a show discount. If you go to events.tmsatoday.org, you can use the code on the payment link, move to Summit 10 to get a 10% discount. But I wanted to talk to you about your session. We were so excited when you submitted for this. You are a longtime TMSA supporter and board member, but we've gotten you to moderate panels on the stage, but this will be, I think, the first time that you are presenting as a solo presenter. So we're really excited to have you. Obviously, you're really well versed in all things global trade. And what are some of the key things you hope to cover, as we're now a month out? So things can change and so quickly, as we just said. But what can you cover?
God, there was a Truth Social post last night that was like a punch in the nose to a lot of our clients, and so it does change rapidly. But the point of this, and I think the point of the conversation, which I'm extremely excited, like I can't wait to get up and black out on stage as we discussed. And you guys, how did it go?
I'll be right there with you.
How did I do? Right? How did I do? we're going to pull lessons from the past, right?
Mhm.
We're going, again, I will keep saying it, and I'll stop saying it on this podcast just so you don't have to, get tired of it. But I will continue to say in my conversations out there, we've been here before. We'll be here again. This is nothing new, and I'm going to demonstrate that. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to have, since the first human traded a berry for a rock. I don't know what it was, right? There has been some sort of disruption when the other guy next to him wanted a different berry. Like there's, this stuff has happened since the beginning of time. And what I really want to explore is how freight forwarders and truck brokers need to prepare themselves for the long term, right? There's both a long term and how they can evolve their models to stay competitive. When I talk about the long term, we've seen a lot of smaller truck brokers come in and out of the market rapidly, which is, if that's their strategy, come in, make a buck while the getting's good, so be it. If the strategy is to open a business when the market's hot and make it for the long haul, right? There's conversations that need to have about cash and investment and other things. And then how do we evolve to stay competitive? I think the key themes there are, and I've mentioned it before, the rise of regional trade flows and how to take advantage of those, right? Integrated services, the absolute importance of being an integrated service provider, the need to diversify. Many of us, and that's an exercise we're going through right now at Mohawk, is continuing to diversify not only our service offerings but our geographic spaces, right? And I think our multinational competitors have that down just based on their scale. Right. But for many of the small to mid-sized businesses that are involved with TMSA, it's a little bit more of a daunting challenge. And we'll talk through some of the ways to do that happen, make that happen. And then agility, right? Agility is money, and we have to both balance setting a course in terms of vision and goals that we can meet and that we will meet regardless of changes, right? And then we have to maintain the flexibility and agility to pivot, right, quickly and strategically respond to opportunities that present themselves or challenges that face our customers. And so it'll be a fairly comprehensive overlook at that, and I'll bring some real life things that we've done at Mohawk, and I'll bring some real life things that I'd wish we'd done, like lessons learned, right? And so I'm excited to share that, and I hope everybody takes advantage of the discount code.
Yes.
So, shopping.
Register for Executive Summit. Join us in Chicago.
Come see me.
22nd.
Come see me in my hometown. My wife is going to come see this. It's going to be pretty cool.
Excellent. So you can use the code MOVE to Summit 10 when you register for Executive Summit, events.tmsatoday.org. We're so excited for Anthony to take the stage as one of our speakers. We have Nicole Glenn as our keynote speaker right before him. We have a shippers panel that's featuring Mitsubishi Power, Kihi Distributors, and Google. And we have a commercial growth panel. We have great discussions. And then we actually recently announced a optional add-on local networking event with the Traffic Club of Chicago that will be an inclusive leadership event. So we have all kinds of exciting things going on in Chicago for Executive Summit, and very excited for you to take the stage. Yay!
Yeah, and look, nothing would impress my wife more, who does not still to this day really understand what we do in this business, because it's not normal. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's her fault. That's my fault, not her fault. The Freudian slip there. I may not be able to go home tonight. But it would be very nice to see standing room only attendance for this presentation, for this blackout moment. So
perfect. Love that. And hope to see everybody there.
Yeah.
You are such a wealth of knowledge, really excited. do have a few more questions for you today to give people more teasers of your breadth of knowledge. So how do you approach risk mitigation in global trade? So like, are there tools, are there partnerships, are there practices? What are kind of those must-haves right now?
All the above, right? All the above. It's a holistic approach. It's obviously visibility. And when I say visibility, it's not only visibility tools, it's visibility to what's going on in the market. It's talking to your clients, talking to your prospects, right? It's diversification, and one of the last shipper panels we were on, that I was on, we have a member, and they have like 8 customers, and they have that locked down, and it's a great market. They probably don't need to diversify, right? They're in this really cool niche space. It was an awesome shippers panel. But for everybody else who has not completely locked down this niche, like, you've got to diversify, right? Strong partnerships, right? The fly by night transactional partners can be useful at times, right? If and I say fly by night, I hope that doesn't imply like sketchy, right? But like, from a relationship point of view, quick relationships, if you can find mutually beneficial opportunities to work with somebody once or twice, that's great. But the deep, meaningful partnerships that you build today, tomorrow, and hopefully 20 years ago, right, are the partnerships that are going to sustain you and help you diversify and drive and build into other markets, right? And so I think that's important, right? So a strong degree of collaboration. I thought about, and I think this gets lost in our business a lot. Not a what's in it for me attitude, but what's in it for this partnership when we start taking on new clients or businesses. Global trade specifically is very fragmented, right? Domestic trucking brokerage is fragmented. There's a lot of conversation going on about rate transparency and the ideas that truck drivers, truck operators, don't have enough or aren't seeing how much money is being made on their labor. And we need to be fair partners in all of this. And there's some companies out there that have the reputation as maybe being less fair than others. And we don't believe that is a survivable long-term strategy for the type of business that we want to be, right? Smarter, faster decision-making, technology. We've been preaching it for 30 years now, and it's never going to stop being a major conversation. And more than that, the integration of everything into single instance visibility platforms for both your clients and internal decision-making, right? So unified view, the utopia of supply chain.
Absolutely. So you touched on this a little bit, just like there is shifts in global trade flows. So like regions are rising and, some are falling in relevance. There's new trade agreements, all the stuff that's going on. So how do you determine where to invest or where to expand? Are there certain criteria or signals that you watch to make those choices?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's an everyday part of the business, right? And in fact, before we hit record, I sent to my fellow executive leadership team, some of them, we're doing some vision work right now, some planning, a list of markets, right? A list of freight markets that we should be paying attention to. And that information comes from talking to our existing clients, right? What are they doing? First and foremost, we've got to be talking to our clients. We have to understand what their 3-year and 5-year strategies are for building and growing their business. And we have to be a partner in supporting that, right? It shouldn't be a one-on-one conversation. It should be a mutually beneficial conversation where we're talking together about support. On top of that, we're looking at the macroeconomic indicators. We're looking at trade agreements. We're looking at infrastructure development. Political stability, along with political stability, becomes ease of doing business, right? Regulatory framework, regulatory environment. Regional specialization, I think, is important in key commodities, right? We're seeing a substantial shift in the garment and textile move from some traditional places, China and South Asia, to North Africa, right? As there's been heavy investment made in those areas. And the question then becomes, is Mohawk ready from a partnership expertise point of view, and are my competitors and my friends in TMSA, are they ready to take advantage? Mm-hmm. Can they take advantage of those shifts into Africa, right? You know, and it's really, there's no trick, right? It's a synthesis. Is that the right word? Did I say that right? Of the information that we get bombarded with, and a best prediction of where things are going to move and where companies are going to source from and deliver to and distribute from in the future. So.
And do you see like sustainability or ethical sourcing playing into those sales and trade strategy?
Oh, I know you want me to say yes, and I know you do.
You can answer your truth.
No, and it's weird. You know, it goes back to, it's one of those things that I don't know that I've ever lost a piece of business. First of all, I want to state, and I think it's important that I state that Mohawk and our clients know Mohawk will not take advantage of questionable situations. As an organization, our values are such that, you know, we don't look to get around rules. We don't look to get around regulations, right? We want to be on the up and up. We want to be fair, and again, we want to work in a world where our company and our customers and their suppliers and the employees that work for them thrive. And those are the types of customers that we do business first and foremost with, right? Like we have I don't know if it's a hard line, because it's hard to, but like we don't do business with companies that we think don't meet the ethical mark. So there is a filter on our side. And once we get through that, and like once we understand that in general, we're both reasonably ethical organizations, that's where I come back and say, I've never seen us lose a piece of business because we didn't write the correct ESG statement in our RFQ response, right? And as much as, look, I'm an avid outdoorsman, so I'll take climate change as one that, and again, I don't want to get into the politics of it and things like that, but as a fisherman, somebody who's outside a lot, right, I've seen changes and what goes on in the world. So I want nothing more than for a company to come in and say, hey, we want the all electric fleet, right? And I know now we'll get bombasted saying, well, the electric still comes from coal, like whatever, right? But I want the companies that we work with to choose the green alternatives and things like that. Mohawk can offer those. I just don't see it driving business decisions and I'm sure it does for some brands, right? But for the most part, I think that there's an assumption between us and our clients that we're acting in an ethical and responsible manner. And once you kind of cross that threshold, we don't see as much diving into the details as maybe we once expected, right? I was at the TPM conference two or 3 years ago, where they talked about environmental sustainability a lot, right? And then again, maybe that's one of those initiatives that ebbs and flows, unfortunately. or ebbs and flows based on other priorities. If you're worried
Right.
about, hey, all of a sudden I can't manufacture my product in India because there's now a 50% tariff, right, instead of the 25, and you've got mouths to feed at your business, right? You've got people that rely on you, families that rely on you. Maybe ESG and your commitment to the environment takes a step back. So, like right now, I think there's a lot of companies in survival mode, which
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled to say, but the
Right. I
reality,
mean, I think it's one of those things that like if you don't want it to affect your bottom line, but if you can't survive, then it can become a nice to have instead of a must have.
absolutely,
And so
absolutely.
that just might be where people are in the market today because there's so many other factors that they have to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where we are, and I think just like I've spoken about the best laid logistics and supply chain management plans taking a backseat and times of, I think we say the same thing, go back and forth with ESG, and hopefully it's but there's gotta be a base standard to play, at least with a company like Mohawk.
And for smaller exporters or companies that are kind of less embedded with global trade right now, do you have advice for them as they begin to start to adapt to this new era without overextending? Because yes, there's a lot of things to consider going on right now.
Simplicity and reliability, right? Don't overextend. Focus on what you can do and what you can do well, and build on it one brick at a time, right? Is it one region? Is it one lane? Is it one new hire that's going to bring the expertise into your organization to do something different, right? There's a lot of providers out there that partner together to provide bundled solutions. We work with a tremendous distribution partner. Mohawk's we're not a distribution organization, and we work with a tremendous distribution partner to introduce each other into clientele and just try to help each other grow our business, right? As a mutually beneficial partnership, and there's a lot of that available out there, right? I think building into the process today, and a lot of Mohawk has fallen into it at some, and know that we're doing a great job writing it right now, and I'm really pumped about it. But a lot of the large freight forwarders, a lot of people who have been around for a long time, have systems that I bet they wish they could go back and build with today's technology today. So don't skimp in that, right? Where there's an opportunity to build automation, right? Utilize, specifically, I like the AI agents. I don't want to talk about AI as a whole. I get it's a little out of my realm, but the AI workflows, AI agents, and building that in, and making sure that as they're outsourcing, I think a big piece is don't fall into a tech debt that you find yourself in 15 years down the road with a nice, growing business and an investment in technology that you have to make that is not sustainable for your organization. We've seen really good companies have to sell because of that in the past in the sector. So maintaining, even if the investments are small, and even if you're not growing at the pace you want to grow, I think a smart, leveraged growth plan with the accompanying built-in and technology and visibility and automation is the way to go. That answer your question? Was that good?
It does. It does. And then looking forward, what are you most optimistic about? Are there emerging trends, underdog regions, innovations? I know we talked a little bit about innovations there throughout the past couple of questions, but anything specific that you think could really shape how global trade works in like the next 5 years?
I'm really pumped about the continuing integration of trade services and the different trade ecosystems that we're seeing pop up for both organizations like Mohawk and our clients to manage at a high level and quickly the rules and regulations and data and such. So I think there's a lot there. I mentioned it before, but AI agents specifically to routine, Mohawk Global. I'll plug us here. We have the best, most knowledgeable people for your business. Everybody else has good ones too, but not quite as good as ours. And we'd like to have them speaking to our customers about what's going on, not being involved in data processes that can be automated, routine transactions. We want them solving the challenges, right? And we want them talking to our clients and delivering value. And so I think the AI definitely has a place. The AI innovation integration is exciting. And for me, the coolest thing continues to be the rise of new regions and the importance of new regions in global supply chain. I mentioned this on a lot of podcasts I've done, probably the last one we did together, but it's worth mentioning again. In the first half of my career, I went to China regularly, right? And I've enjoyed it. I love it. It was always a fantastic experience. Unfortunately, only because I enjoy the experience so much, I don't go. I haven't been in a long time. I spent a lot of time in India. I spent a lot of time and other kind of Sri Lanka is one. When I give this presentation that we talk about, I'm leaving and I'm getting on a plane to Bangladesh, right? Which for somebody like me who's got the travel bug and the culture bug and the kind of get out of my comfort zone is something that's fantastic. But the business possibilities and the growth possibilities are huge. And the rise of Africa as a specifically in the garment and textile area that we're looking in, one of the verticals that we work in. I've always wondered, would there be a business reason for me to get over to Africa? I want to go. I love travel. The last flight I took to Germany, I almost took Morocco Air out of Chicago just so I could stop in Morocco for 2 days. My wife would be upset if I was just like, hey, I'm taking a weekend vacation and it's not tied to work. So I didn't do it. But now on the horizon, Ethiopia is not out of the question, right? Kenya is not out of the question. And we're doing business out of those regions. And so continuing to capitalize and on Central America has been a strong supplier, but how will they grow? And really watching how those regions will continue to invest in their infrastructure and their manufacturing capacity, manufacturing acumen, and see how they're poised to become important players in the supply chains of tomorrow.
Well, thank you so much for all of that insight. Always enjoy talking.
I hope it was insightful. I blacked out. Was it good?
I told you. Me too. No, I listened because I was asking the question. So it sounded smart to me, Anthony.
Okay.
But,
Take a theme.
So if anyone watches the show regularly, I have a question that I ask everybody, but I have a question that I ask people who come on for a second time as well. So you get a new end question. And that's if you could go back in time and relive any day of your life, what would it be and why?
Are we excluding the obvious ones, like the birth of my children? And for me, it would be the day I married my wife.
You are the first person to say that, which I think is lovely. I don't think we have to exclude the big days.
Yeah, for me,
and I love my son more than anything in the world. Yeah. The actual giving birth process isn't great. It's not a great experience. It hurts.
Yeah, I was on the golf course smoking cigars. That's what we're supposed to do, right? No, I'm
right,
kidding.
exactly.
No, I am kidding.
But it's of course, I love the sweet baby at the end. Everything is worth it. But I'm if I'm reliving a day, can I have the day after?
No, it's the moment, right? It's the moment when you first hold them, right? And so for me, it would be marrying my wife, who has been an amazing ride or die partner, who has enabled me to go on this tremendous adventure in this wacky business that has kept me extremely busy some days, right? Extreme at work, and I miss stuff because of this business and the fact that it's 24. And I know I'm speaking to all of you guys out there in this business. We miss stuff, you know, and it takes a tremendous partner and somebody who understands you and what you're trying to do. And so marrying my wife, the birth of my children, and then I would say the day I joined Mohawk. I just hit 7 years, and you get this flood of things on LinkedIn, you know, this flood of reminders and so many wonderful people. I was at C.H. Robinson prior to that, and so many wonderful memories and things like that. But the opportunity to come to an organization that gave me the opportunity to try so many different things and work with so many wonderful people and with core values that I believe in and fight for and will stand behind. So I've got to throw that into the pile. There's a lot of days.
Well, I love that. And if you want to join me and Anthony on another great day, you will register for Executive Summit at events.tmsatoday.org. You can use the discount code MOVE to Summit 10 to get a 10% discount off of registration. But thank you so much, Anthony, for coming on the show and for speaking at Summit. We are so excited to have you, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
This was awesome. I loved it. You are the best podcast host in the world. Relaxing, cool. Say hello to your mom. She can back you now.
Yes. Have a good one.
Take care. Bye-bye.